Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Mind Your Mission. It's been a while since we posted an episode, so thanks for bearing with us through this busy season. I don't know about you, Liz, but I am tired, just a little bit tired with the 4th of July and then all the Sail 250, America 250 stuff going on. The Coast Guard has just been busy, especially on the East Coast. So that's excuse number one. I feel like I have a few more I could roll off after that one. But anyway, we're back today and we are going to be talking about the unseen logistics of being a working mom. But before we dive into that, I wanted to just preface it with I don't even like using the term working mom because let's be real, all moms are working moms. It's just a matter of if you work outside of the home or solely and primarily inside the home, or if you work from home. Like there's a lot of different variety of working moms. We're all working moms, but today we're going to be specifically speaking to Liz and I, what we're walking through right now, being moms who work outside of the home. It's a lot.
Mhm.
So we'll get into it. But before we get super far into it, Liz, how have you been? How's life going for you?
I feel you on the front of it being very busy, and I'm also exhausted. I feel like the past, honestly, since I went back to work, but probably the past month has been crazy. I feel like with Sale 250, we had that come through here, and I didn't even play that big of a role in that, but it just made things busier at work with like inspections and all that. And then I was the assistant project officer for our change of command slash the captain's retirement, which was like a really big deal. There was like 400 people there. It was like basically planning a wedding
Yeah.
on more of a budget. So it's just,
And that's a big wedding.
yeah, it was like, yeah, like a huge wedding. And the thing about Coast Guard events is like with a wedding, you like hire people, like you're hiring
Mhm.
a DJ, you're hiring caterers. But for Coast Guard events, like we are the caterers. Like we had to pick up everything from Costco. We had to set everything. Like we
Mm.
are all of the things. And when you're doing that on top of your like primary job, it's a lot. So I feel like that's been my life for the past month. It's been crazy, like balancing that and also just like being a mom. And I am pretty much the primary parent just because Matt works like longer hours than me. So I'm usually the one like doing bedtime, bath time by myself and like picking him up, dropping him off. In majority of the time, the sole caretaker. So doing that and working has been a lot. So this past week, last week was the change of command. So I had like a few days I was working like 12-hour days. And I just knew at the beginning of this week, I was like, I looked at my son and I was like, I feel like you're going to get sick this week. I don't know why. He wasn't even having any symptoms, but I was like, this would just be the week. He hasn't been sick yet. He's like almost 8 months old. So it was bound to happen at some point. So I was just like, yeah, you're probably going to get sick this week. I just have a feeling. And then like the night before, like one the rehearsal day for the change of command, it's like 1:30 a.m. and he was crying, which I was like, something's wrong because you don't normally like cry in the middle of the night unless something is wrong usually. So I went in there and picked him up and he was like super warm.
Mm.
So I was like, ugh, great, definitely has a fever. And I took it and it was like 100.9, which is like a pretty low grade fever if you
Mhm.
do like the rectal thermometer. So it's like, okay, maybe he'll be like fine in the morning, but we were still gonna like someone's gonna stay home with him because you don't know what's gonna happen. Like what's gonna happen.
Mhm.
So I woke up the next day and it was gone. So it's like, okay, I had to go to work. So my husband had to stay home. Thankfully, he was in an online course that day, but I feel like it kind of made things worse because
Yeah.
you're trying to like be in an online course and take care of a sick child. But then throughout the day, like his fever came back and he was like pretty fussy, I think, when he was sick. So I like kind of felt bad about it, but then I was like, I took care of him for 3 months by myself. Like, this is good experience for Matt.
Yeah.
But it was, like, really hard being away from your child, like, when they are sick, because I normally would be the one to stay home just because we're putting more effort into Matt's care than I at this point because I'm getting out, so, like, if anyone's gonna stay home, I would stay home. And my work is more easily done admin-wise, whereas he, like, has a lot of training and stuff, like,
Mhm.
in person, I can do a lot of my work from home because I
Mhm.
have a lot of admin work, but, yeah, it wasn't an option. The one time it's not an option for me to, like, stay home with him. So that was kind of traumatic, just not being able to be there and take care of him. Like, I know Matt, like, did a great job taking care of him, but ultimately, like, no one knows how to take care of their sick child like a mom. So that was just hard because I didn't even see him that whole day because I got home at like 10 PM. So he was in bed by the time I got home. So that was the day before. And then the day of, he was also sick and pretty fussy. And I was gone all day again. So I didn't really see him for like 2 whole days. which was really hard and really sad, and just shows, like, the balance of being a working mom and just no one there, unless they're, like, close friend, and I told them, like, knew. I hadn't
Mhm.
slept for 2 nights because he
Yeah.
didn't sleep really because he was just, like, not feeling well, so it's hard for him to sleep, and also just working really, really long hours and having to, like, be present, like, I wasn't just, like, showing up to work, and kinda doing the job, like, I had to, like, get things done, plan a bunch of things, be on the move, like, it was a lot, and normally, pre-baby, I do love that stuff, like, I
Mhm.
love planning things, and I like doing that stuff. I don't volunteer for them, but when I'm voluntold to do it, like, I will do it, and I will do a good job, but it was just different balancing that and being a mom and being present when I'm clearly thinking of other things. I felt, like, nauseous, like, being away from my son, and it was just, like, confirmation, like, I don't wanna stay.
Yeah.
Like, the fact that I can't even, like, be home and take care of my sick child just but the change came out really well, and it was fun, and I am glad it's over, and this past weekend, me and my husband went to Charlottesville, which we almost canceled because he was sick, but he started feeling better, so we went, which was really fun just to, like, get away after a chaotic week. And now at work this past week, I have took over a new role in supervising our port states, our foreign vessel branch, so that will also it's a learning curve, like, to learn, like, a whole new shop, and, like, I'm excited to be over there, but that learning all the different things they do and stuff will just be a little bit of a transition, all while trying to, like, transition out. So,
Yeah.
yeah, things have been crazy busy, but it's crazy, like, how fast time is going at the same time. I don't know if you feel that. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I really don't." I know you have less time than me because of Skill Bridge. I don't know
Yeah.
how to do that
I
yet,
literally
but
have 4 months, and I'm like, "Whoa," like, I have things I need to get done.
yeah, I'm like, I probably have, like, 9 months, but yeah, so it's crazy how fast, like, time is flying, and being busy at work really does make the time fly, and I guess if I'm gonna be there, I might as well, like, be busy, but it's just hard balancing
Yeah.
everything and being, like, the primary caretaker, and also, like, my husband's leaving in a month, maybe for 4 months, I don't know. So just, like, I don't know how I'm supposed to, like, be a mom and stand duty while my husband's gone. Like, I'm not looking forward to that, but I'm like, "I'll just figure it out as it comes. It'll be fine." But anyways, that's my life update. James is happy and healthy now. It's good for his immune system, so I'm like,
Right?
hopefully it strengthens his immune system and all that, but he's good now, so
Yeah.
how
Yeah,
are you doing?
I feel like this season, the way that I would describe it, I feel like it's a season I know God is using to teach me something, but I don't know what it is. Like, and I keep trying to figure it out and then, like, force the learning, like, "Okay, God, I learned the lesson. Let's keep moving." But over and over, I think he just keeps reminding me that that's not how it works, that he just wants my time and attention and my full devotion and my full surrender. Work has been busy, but also, like you're saying, things are calming down for me, and especially after the last couple weeks, like, there's not much on my plate, and so it's calming down on one hand, but also I do still just have to go to work every day. But then one thing I've been realizing lately, and this kinda ties into today's topic, but in a different sense, is that there are some mornings where I almost want to leave and go to work because the way that my house and my kids have been recently is just hard in the sense that they're little humans, complicated humans who we need to steward, and a lot of times the problems that they're having, it's not just like a one quick fix. I can fix the problems versus when I go to work, like, usually, even when work is busy, I can fix those problems. Like, I can accomplish those tasks. I can check those things off my list. The things at home, whether it's, like, health issues or sleep struggles or discipline and just everything that comes with raising little humans, little sinful humans, I might add, it's not an easy fix. Like, I can't just fix it when I want so badly just to fix it and control it. But I think God's been reminding me over and over that it doesn't work that way and that reliance on Him is the point. But it's been super frustrating. Just eczema in particular. If any of you moms out there listening have a kid with eczema, you know just the horrible rabbit hole that it takes you down and the struggles of trying to find the root cause, versus just the quick fixes. So that's been number one struggle on top of the sleep stuff, which not sleeping doesn't make my demeanor any easier and better for dealing with toddlerhood or work or my husband or anybody or anything. So it's all just like piling up. And on top of that, of course, I haven't been spending the time with God that I need to because I'm so tired. I just sleep in and then I don't spend time in the Word. And it's a spiral that I know is not helping. All that to be said, on the flip side of what I mentioned about it sometimes being easier to go to work and just fix the problems at work. On the flip side of that, going to work is harder because nobody there, like you've already mentioned, knows what my night was like or knows what my week's been like when I go home. And even after the busy 4th of July week, like we had Thursday, Friday, and Monday off. Like we had a lot of time off, but it's like it's not time off. Like, it just is different for people who don't have kids, and nobody at work has ever said anything to me or made me feel poorly about anything when it comes to being a mom or not doing enough at work. Like, everyone at work is amazing, but I find myself, like, having the urge and feeling the need to, like, plead my case when it comes to certain things at work, like, whether it's when I'm gone pumping or when I come in a few minutes late or when I have to leave early one day or when I go get a workout at lunch because I just can't get it in the afternoon, evening time. Like, I always no one's questioning anything I'm doing because honestly, most people at my workplace are parents and probably have more of an idea than I realize of what I'm dealing with. But I do feel the need to plead my case because there is so many logistics beyond just work. And then on the home front, there are so many logistics beyond just home. And it doesn't feel like anyone fully understands it all. You're probably the closest to who understands it all. And that's where, again, the Lord is the one who really knows everything that I'm doing and sees me and can understand me and empathize with me when I need that. But anyway, the emotions associated with both and the tension, it's real. And so we wanted to talk about it today, not to complain necessarily, more so just to bring light and encouragement to that wrestle and to those of you out there who are working moms, whether you're at home working to steward your kids or in a separate workplace working to serve whatever workplace you work for. We just want to say that we see you and we want to talk about some of the unseen logistics. And I almost want to frame this episode as like if I were pleading my case to my coworkers, if I were to explain to them like what a day is like for me, because I think it helps us as moms to name some of the things that we're doing and recognize like, wow, we do have a lot. Again, not to complain, but to just recognize the weights that we're carrying so that we can take them and surrender the things that we don't need to bear to the Lord. And so that as women, we can relate to each other and bear one another's burdens as well. So I figured what we could do is just like pick a day the last week, whether it was when James is sick, and just like from morning to evening, talk about the logistics, like going through your head. Because sometimes at work, I find myself like, again, wanting to just tell my boss, well, I got to do this and this and this timing. And I want to like explain this. So I figured we could just like walk through one of our busier days and just like name the things that we are thinking and managing. Again, to just like to shed light on it and to encourage one another in those things. So, I don't know if you wanna start, like, when you wake up in the morning, Liz, like, what are the things you're thinking? What are the things you're doing?
Yeah, I guess I can do the change of command day because I feel like that day was wild. But also, everything you're saying, one thing I'm grateful for about my work is there are a lot of moms with young kids, and there are also a lot of pregnant people. So even though I like
Mm,
have to be at work this next year, I've been like encouraged. There's a lot of new people reporting in that are pregnant, like maybe four out of like five. So just like the opportunity that I get to really like pour into them and be there for them and talk with them is like, I'm like, well, if I have to be there for this last year, at least like I have people I can relate to and people that I can encourage. But I'll go through last Thursday because I feel like it was crazy. I guess I don't know if I should. I guess I'll start in the middle of the night.
sure,
If,
yeah. It makes sense.
yeah, there were like 3 nights that he didn't really sleep, but he would wake up like every couple hours, just like uncomfortable. So I guess I was probably up a few times that night trying to get him to sleep. I think he ended up sleeping in our bed that night because he wouldn't go back to sleep. So and normally he doesn't like to sleep next to people, but he did for this.
Mhm.
And so Matt and I were up, and he probably got. I think that night I got 4 hours of sleep, which is pretty good.
Yeah,
Pretty good for
great.
all stances,
All
all
things considered.
circumstances.
Yeah.
I think I woke up. at like 5, and normally I wake up I feel like I have like a 3-hour morning shift. I wake up at 4:30 and I leave for the day at like 7:25. So, I normally have a 3-hour morning shift, but I didn't work out this morning because, like, I wasn't sleeping. So, I woke up at 5, and the first thing I do when I wake up is I pump because, gotta make that milk, and my son has a bottle preference at this point because that's, like, what he gets most of the time, so he just, like, won't he will only take a bottle, so it's just, like,
Mhm.
easier for everyone involved. That's, like it was sad, but also I'm like, it's kind of easier now. I mean, the pumping part isn't fun, but it's fine when I'm working. It's more so, like,
Yeah,
more inconvenient on the weekend, but during when I'm
yeah,
working, it's like I just pump when I wake up and then during work and, like, before bed, so it's really not
yeah.
bad, but during the weekend, it's kind of horrible. But so I wake up and pump, and then I have to pack well, I think this day I didn't have to pack his stuff because Matt stayed home with him, but I still had to, like, prep his bottles. So I pump, and then I pack his bottles, and then I have to bag up all his milk and either put it in the freezer or fridge, get everything packed for the day, and I don't even know what else do I do in the morning. I pack my stuff, which I had to pack a lot of stuff. I had to pack my uniform, I had to pack my iPad, I had to pack the night before, I was up late printing stuff out for the change of command programs and all that, and then had to get all that ready. And I think I left at 6:30, which is normally when my son wakes up, so I, like, saw him really quick and then left for the day. I don't think that really does my morning justice, though. I feel like normal morning, I wake up at 4:30, I pump till about and prep everything till, like, 5:15, and then I'm working out from, like, 5:15 to 6, and then I shower, and then I try to eat something really quick. I don't really get a chance to eat much in the morning, and then I water my plants, and then I get my son up, and I feed him, and then he gets eggs in the morning are usually what I do for solids just 'cause, like, it's easy and not super messy. He gets that, and then he wasn't eating on this day 'cause he was sick, so I didn't feed him solids, but normally he gets eggs, and then I have to clean up all the stuff he eats, and then I have to change him, and then I would pack up in the car, and then we go to school, and then I go to work, but this day Matt was staying home with him. But when I left the house, I had to go get crab cake balls from Wegmans, so I got there as soon as it opened at 7, got a ton of crab cake balls, and then I had to drive to Yorktown, there was a bunch of traffic, so it took me about an hour and a half to get to Yorktown, and also I have to pump on the drive because I had to pump before the change of command,
'Cause are
and
you
then
every 3 how often are you pumping now?
4 hours. I pump, like, 5 times a day, I think, so about every 4 hours. So I pump but sometimes when I have, like, events and stuff, it gets, like, out of I
Yeah,
just, like, do it before, after, whatever.
yeah.
So I pump in my car on the way there, and then I get there, and I have to drop off the mini crab cake balls, and then I have to, like, drop off all the stuff for the programs, and then I had to tape up signs, and then I had to change into my trops, and then I had to call Matt because I was telling him to call the pediatrician because I couldn't do that. Normally, I would do that. Everything was fine. They didn't really give us too much information, but just, like, check and make sure everything was good and telling him symptoms. And then the change of command started. And then that happened basically. A change of command and retirement, which was like a couple hours, but then I'm also like texting Matt during the retirement, making sure he's calling the pediatrician, asking how James is because he wasn't eating, which was like kind of concerning. But then after the change of command, I have to go set up for the reception. And I didn't know if I was going to leave early because I was worried about him feeling sick and if we were going to take him to the pediatrician. I didn't end up leaving early, but that's like the whole time I'm doing that. Also, like socializing with like captains and, all that fun
Mhm.
stuff and laying out food, making sure the cakes look good. I had a slideshow presentation I made that I had to get up and going and socialized for a few hours and then I had to clean up. Then I left at like 4, but then I didn't come to 6:30 because of Yorktown traffic. And my son goes to bed at 7. So I saw him for a little bit, barely any time. And then I got ready for bed because I was exhausted, very tired from no sleep. And then I think that night he woke up a couple times because he wasn't feeling good. So that was like an abnormal day. But I feel like I work, and you do this too. There's like a morning shift, and
Mhm.
then I have my whole day at work, and then I have my evening shift. In my evening shift, I'm usually so tired. I feel like I have no energy left over. Like I want to play with my son and like
Yeah.
interact with him and stuff like that, but it is hard because I'm so exhausted. Like yesterday, I think I was like watching him and I was falling asleep on the couch because I was so tired. Which
Yeah.
I think every mom can, like, relate to. But I try to keep the evenings fun, like, when I do get home from work, like, we'll go on a walk and we'll do solids, and sometimes we'll play in his little splash pad just to, like, give us stuff to do. Because sometimes I'm just like, "I don't know what to do with you," because like, it's too late to really leave the house, and you're too young to, like, go to the
This age
playground,
is the 8-month, 7-month, 8-month age is really hard because they, like, want your attention and
Mhm.
need entertainment, but, like, they can't do anything.
No, I'm like, "I can't
So,
take you to the like, what do I do with you?" I don't
yeah.
know. But yeah, last week was crazy, but it's fine. I feel like it's easier knowing that we have an end in sight. Like, I don't know if I could do this forever because honestly, it's exhausting, and I'm like, I don't know how people do this with, like, 3 kids.
I think my hot take, this is just for myself because 'cause I've been doing this longer, I guess, than you have. I think my answer to that, at least what I've done, like, how do moms do this for a prolonged period of time? I think you just it sounds so depressing, but I think you just forget about your kids. Like, and I know that you can't completely forget about your kids, and I don't mean that, like, I will never my body is, like, connected to like, I will never forget about them. But what I mean by that is, like, I think you just flip a switch to you're like, "Okay, like, gonna put that in a box and deal with that when I get home," and 'cause then when I do that, because I feel like the first 2 years before there was really an end in sight, like, I had to just kinda, like, tunnel vision, like, lock in to work, and when I did that, it was like, work was easier when I just forgot about home. So I feel like that might, like, and I could be completely wrong, and I'm sure it depends on the mom, but I feel like it might be that just they just hone in on work, and then when they're home, like, they must just be really good at just, like, splitting their life into boxes because 'cause I'm not very good at that.
No, because 'cause I'm like, I don't know how I'd be coping. Now I'm like, "This isn't forever." Like, I know it's not forever, and I just have to, like, get through this season, but I can't imagine being like, "Well, this is just what life is like." I'm like but some people like working, like, they like that time that they get. And I kind of do forget about I mean, I talk about 'em at work all the time, but I do forget that I'm, like, a mom at work. I feel like my old self a little bit, I
Right.
guess.
Well, and the way that I describe it when it comes to, like, which is easier, work or being home? Like, they're both difficult, but work is, like it's all mental for me. Like, it's different for, like, physical job. Like, I don't have a physical job. It's all mental. At home, it's mental, physical, spiritual, emotional, definitely emotional. So it's like, it takes everything from me. Work is just like, I can use my brain and I can drink my coffee while it's hot. Like, so that's how I describe, like, the difference. But yeah, so that's a busy day and a day when your kid's sick. But even within there, like, you're always like, I feel like starting in the evening is actually pretty accurate because the night before, I'm prepping. I'm prepping like food for myself for the next day. I'm prepping food for my kids for the next day. I'm trying to make sure that I have like breakfast stuff ready so that in the morning I can easily throw together breakfast because we're really lucky in the sense that we have childcare like in our home. It's either my mom or my husband's mom most of the time, but I want to set them up for success. And so I try to make breakfast before I go for them to give my kids. And so I want to have it all prepped the night before. So I feel like it really does start the night before, let alone like the night shift of if your baby's waking up. And I feel like one day that I'll reference, actually, I wanted to talk about first, like, I feel like nursing in and of itself is like a whole thing. If you're like, once you're done nursing, and I experienced this with Weston, like, once you're done nursing, it is a weight lifted, like, there isn't as much of a burden, so I think that's, like, long term how a lot of moms, like, it gets different. It gets easier, I guess, when you're not, like, dealing with that logistic
Yeah, I forgot to mention
because
I pumped my car a lot on the
yeah, yeah,
day of the
because
change of command.
nursing in and of itself is a full-time job, and I remember when I first reported to Sector Maryland, I was in incident management division, which is, like, responding to oil spills, and the hard part about that job is, like, I was there and I knew I needed to get experience on calls. The problem with that is like I couldn't plan for when the calls were going to come in and I didn't exactly know like what calls we'd have to go out to and what calls we could do from the office. And so like I was always trying to read the room when we got calls like okay, are they going to go to this? Like should I go to this? Is this one I should go to? If I'm gonna go to it, then I need to go pump right now before we go, but I don't necessarily wanna say, "Okay, yeah, we can go, but in 20 minutes," because I gotta run upstairs and pump. So it's, like, the hard part for me back then and I'm better at, like, moving my pumping time around things that are going on now, but when I was first, like, super rigid about my pumping times, I struggled with the unplanned stuff. Like, it's one thing when you have the day laid out and you know, like, okay, you have an opportunity to fit it in where you need to. But when you're in a job that like is spontaneous like that, it was really, really difficult because like I didn't like I would have to go. I mean, just trying to fit it in every 2 to 3, 4 hours. And then we'd be on calls for so long. And I'm in a truck full of dudes. So like I can't pump necessarily when I'm driving. So I would like we'd get to a call. They'd go out and like check out the incident. And then like I'd stay in the car and pump and just be like, hey guys, I'll be out in a minute. Anyway, so that was really difficult when I first reported. Now that I'm in like a more scheduled for the most part job, and I just have a better handle on it. It's gotten a little bit easier, but I'll take you to the day that I rode in on Eagle, because that morning, let's see, Haven woke up at like 5 something and I ended up feeding her, but then she went back to bed. Usually she wakes up at like 6:30. That day I had to leave earlier than normal. So I was supposed to leave at like 7. So I was gonna like feed her. Well, I had to leave at like 6:30. So I was gonna feed her when she woke up like normal time, like 6:15. But since she woke up at 5, she was still sleeping at 6:15. So I'm like, okay, I guess I'll pump before I go. So I pumped before I went, which I normally don't do because I just feed her. But I tried to pump then because then I could put it off as long as I could when I was actually physically on Eagle. And Eagle is something I wanted to say yes to. I'll say that too. I think being closer to the end of my time in the Coast Guard, I feel less pressure to say yes to things that are optional, I guess. Like before, when I had to get certain quals, had to get certain experience to feel confident in my job. Like I felt this pressure to say yes. And towards the tail end, the 2024 presidential inauguration was right around when I stopped breastfeeding because things got really busy and I like had to say yes to things and like was missing pump sessions here and there. I also had to go to a 3-week class at Yorktown in order to get a qualification and like that was exactly when like that my last day nursing was right before I left for that course because what am I gonna do? Like I was barely hanging on by a thread at that point, pumping, like I was barely getting anything anyway. So I just kind of was like, okay, I guess we're done. Now that we're closer to the end, it's easier to say no to things, but back to Eagle was one thing I wanted to say yes to because I wanted to go ride it on Eagle. It was gonna be a fun opportunity. But that meant I just had to haul my portable pumps in my backpack, on a small boat onto Eagle. Luckily, our friend Jordan, I just used her stateroom to pump, and so it wasn't actually that big of a deal, but just funny how, like, literally my Mom Cozy pumps have gone with me so many places, and I've gotten really good at it, but when you're out for a prolonged period of time, and this is something I've, like, wanted to explain to my boss before, because he's asked me, like, "Okay, can you go to this search and rescue exercise on this day?" And things like that are hard because I don't know what the setup's gonna be. If I know, like, what rooms I'm gonna have available or what space or what time, like, if I know what I'm walking into, it's one thing and I can plan for it, but if it's outside all day, like, I'm not gonna have a fridge. I'm not gonna have access to a sink to, like, wash my pumps, and yes, they make wipes and freezer bags and, like, all these different things. They make all the tools for this, but you just have to, like, be prepared, and, so I've wanted to explain to my boss, like, yes, sir. I really wanna say yes easily because that's the expectation that I feel like, he's asking me thinking it's gonna be easy, like, "Oh, hey, Erin, can you go to this thing tomorrow? I'm unable to make it." It's not as simple as that, sir. Like, I've wanted to explain that to him before. But anyway, Eagle Day ended up being totally fine because I did have access to things like a fridge and a sink and all that. But still, you just all this to say, I don't have to go into it even more than that, but all this to say saying yes to staying late, saying yes to out of the office opportunities, saying yes to social events, even like fun things like, hey, do you want to go to happy hour? Not just pumping. Pumping is like one thing, but the trickle that like saying yes to something that I would have easily said yes to before, the trickle that that has on the rest of the day and the rest of the logistics of family is pretty big. Like if you stay late, then dinner's gonna be late, then bedtime's gonna be late, people are gonna be fussy, you're not gonna be as prepared for the next day, you're probably not gonna get as much sleep, and then it's just this cycle, and so I think just encouraging moms, like, I know that saying yes is probably harder now than it was before you were a mom, and kind of explaining that in a way to people who aren't moms that's, like, allows them to kind of recognize and see everything you're doing, but in a way that's not complaining is hard, but I also think it's a conversation worth having, which is why we're having it now. So, anyway, that's my tangent.
No, I feel like now what you're saying about, like, it's easier to say no to things, there's so much freedom and, like, I don't care as much about how I'm perceived, or I don't care about, like, saying yes to things that I don't really fit into my schedule, but yeah, you won't catch me staying at work past the time we're supposed to be there unless, like, I have a project or something, but I am hoping helping out with the Ninja Command gets me off the hook for any other projects
Right.
during my
Yeah.
end here, but yeah, being a working mom is very difficult. So
The
and I
last
feel like I
thing
didn't understand it before becoming a mom, like, it's so hard to understand unless you've, like, been through it, and the people that get it, like, get it, but it's hard to make other people that haven't gone through it understand.
Yeah, because I mean, we don't wanna complain, and there's no reason to complain. Being a mom is the biggest blessing in the
Mhm.
world, and so is having the job that we have right now. Like, it's been a great thing for our family in this season. Obviously, we're making a different decision in the future, but the other few things that I'll just, like, bullet point really fast is, like, the logistics of for me, I've just been like, we don't have to take a PT test or anything for a year, but still, it's like you wanna get your health on track, so spending time doing that I've been doing that at work, which feels like, taboo when other people might not be working out at work, they're gonna use time outside of work, but, like, I gotta get home, get to my kids after work, so I'm not gonna work out after work in the morning, which is I mean, it's I'm glad that you've been able to make it work, but it's like when you don't know if you're sleeping the night before or
Yeah.
breastfeeding in the morning, like, all these different things. So there's
That's
that,
kind
like,
of
the
why I didn't pump because it was like if I worked out in the morning, if I'm gonna run or anything, I, like,
Yeah,
have to pump.
yeah.
So, it was just, like, ended up working out better.
So there's just, like, the immense difficulty that it is to fit that in. It's not easy. But then also I wanted to say too, I've really struggled, and this is not all moms at all. I've really struggled with friendships, since becoming a mom, specifically a working mom outside the home, because most of the time, the play dates, the mom hangouts, all that, it would happen during the day. Like, why wouldn't it? Like, it's not gonna happen at 5 PM. That's when everyone's getting ready for dinner, like, when we're getting off work and getting home and everything, and so, like, the excuse of, "I just haven't had time to have friends," is so pathetic, but that's been my reality and just something that, like, logistically, I didn't understand before becoming a mom that, like, that would be difficult, and I always have had this image of how I would mother, and it included so many things. It included play dates and library time and activities and sports and music time and all these things and things that would really help, especially in these toddler years that we're at with our son. And we just haven't had the opportunity to do that. Like my son, he has no friends, which is really sad, but it's just been like something that we've had to kind of accept. Like, we have a few families from church that we get together with for a small group now, and that's been a new thing the last couple months. But before that was really hard because of bedtimes and everything, and we're making it a priority now because we've realized, like, how much of an impact not having it has had on our family and him. Like, he's at the age now where, like, he wants to play with other kids and he asks for friends, which is, like, super heart-wrenching, and I'm like, "I promise, buddy, like, we're gonna find friends soon, like, both of us, we're gonna go we're gonna go find friends." But that's just been a reality too that's been super hard because we're definitely meant to do life and specifically motherhood in community.
That is, like, a hard part, like, a lot of my stay-at-home mom friends in church, like, I can't hang out with them because it's like, well, the only time I get with my husband is on the weekend, so I'm not gonna hang out with you on the weekend because I don't get to see him very often, and then you don't really have time to hang out with him during the week. I do have mom friends here who I've, like, been prior friends with, like,
Mm,
before motherhood,
mhm.
and they are in the Coast Guard as well. So, those are the ones that I feel like I can keep up with because we are in a we g you're in a similar season of life and you have the similar schedule, and also our husbands are friends, so we can all kinda hang out together. So those friendships I've been able to keep up with, but it's hard to make new friends. Like, all my friends are kind of work friends or old academy friends, and I'm super blessed to live in this area where there are a lot of academy friends,
Mhm.
and a lot of my friends have children now, or having kids, so, yeah, I've been blessed in that sense, but it's hard to make any new friends with people who aren't in the same stage of life too. 'Cause I was hanging out with, like, some friends before I went back to work, and I'm not able to really hang out with them now that I am working, which stinks, but it's just a part of it. I'm thankful I have friends.
Have you been, like, in inspections, have you had, like, duty calls yet, like, at home with James?
No, thankfully, I just switching duty though, so I know I was in domestics, and I had duty, like, a few times, and I somehow never got a single call when I was standing duty. But I'm moving over to Port State, and I will definitely get calls. So we'll see how that works because I'm going to be standing duty once Matt's deployed, which I
Mm.
have no one to help me. So we'll see how that goes. But I'm just like hoping everything works out. But I'm also going to have to do boats on the weekend. But also, I don't have anyone to watch my son. So that's going to be, that's like the part that I'm most anxious about is like, what am I supposed to do? And people aren't going to help you out. Like, you kind of have to figure it out yourself. Like, they're not gonna accommodate me or anything,
And yeah,
so
everyone has their own logistics they're dealing with.
yeah.
Yeah, that's when the off-hour calls is, like, something that I didn't like, I thought would be great, like, "Oh, I get to stay on duty from home." Really glad I'm not doing that anymore. Sometimes with public affairs stuff, things will come up, and even as it's, like, the simple asks that people like, it shouldn't be that big of a deal. Like, "Hey, can you check this email and forward it to this person?" "Okay, yeah." As I'm, like, holding my baby, bath time with the toddler. Yeah, give me, like, an hour when they're in bed, and then I can do that really easy thing that'll take me 5 minutes,
Yeah.
like the off hour stuff, like, where it I feel bad because it's a simple ask, and I wanna be able to say yes, but we're in the middle of our second shift.
Yeah.
I call it the second shift. Like,
I
got the
can't get to
day
anything till
shift.
7 PM, so
Yeah, and not even that, I mean, after that too. 'Cause we haven't even talked about laundry and meal prep and cleaning and all the house stuff and the mental load of it all. That's, like, the one last point I really wanted to hit too is, like, I and this is where I have felt the need to plead my case even with my husband, and that in that sense, it's more so, like, the mental load, like, okay, I know that, like, physically, I have everything physically under control, but here's what I'm thinking about in my brain. Here's all the research that's pending that I haven't done. Here's, the friends that I told them I would do something that I haven't done, or here's the text I haven't responded to. Like, the mental load, it doesn't go away, and I've just been struggling with, like, the idea of Sabbath. Like, how do I give my brain a break? And I know putting down my phone and putting down technology is, like, a big part of that, but even so, like, there's so many things that feel like things I need to get to. For example, the eczema stuff, it's like, I need to figure this out, like, for my child. Like, I can't just let this go and, like, chill on the couch on a Sunday. Like, so the mental load has been a big struggle for me too.
yeah, I feel like with work, I stand duty like a week out of a month and I'm on call all the time. But as a mom, I'm on duty all the time. I'm on call all the time. So it's just like, it is a lot mentally, especially when Matt is gone. It's like, I don't even know how to handle this. It can get so overwhelming
Mhm.
very quickly.
Yeah.
And I don't really have an answer like to solve it. Like, it is just really difficult. Like, I feel like my brain does not work the same way it used to. Like,
Yeah.
I'll be, like, trying to figure something out at work, and I'm pretty quick with stuff, but then I'm like, I
Mhm.
forget what I'm doing, and I'm like, "What was I supposed to be
Did you
doing?"
watch my most recent YouTube video?
No, I haven't.
I touched on that, the neurological changes, because we often talk about physical body changes after having a baby, but your brain literally the amount of gray matter or whatever it's called, like, literally changes to where your brain is wired to not be as attuned to logistics and dates and numbers and things like that and more towards emotions, and, like, we don't give that enough credit, like, it is so annoying when you're sitting there like I'm not firing on all cylinders. That's so frustrating, but it's a real, like, brain change that happens.
Yeah, no, it's very true. Because I used to know my schedule like the back of my hand, I'm like, "I don't remember when that meeting is." Like,
Yeah.
"I don't remember
I've
when I
missed
scheduled this."
I literally forgot my blouse 2 days in a row. Like, how does that happen 2 days in a row? I had to walk
Yeah.
over and get Nolan's blouse this morning. I was
Oh,
like,
that's
"What's
funny.
going on?"
That's funny. Yeah, it's I'm forgetting things all the time. Sometimes I'll even be like, I forget to pump." Like, it's been, like, 5 hours, I'm like, "Oh, I
Yeah.
forgot."
Yep.
Like, that happens to me all the time. Yeah, it's just I can't even I'm like, "I don't know how I'm supposed to function this next year, but it'll be fine." Like, it'll be fine.
The Lord will sustain us, and He'll
Yeah, that's why I'm
sustain
like
our kids.
yeah, I'm like, "The Lord's gonna figure it out because I am pretty stressed about duty, but I'm like, "It'll the Lord's
Yeah.
gonna figure it out." Like, I somehow when I'm on duty, it's never that bad. So I'm like, maybe people are overdramatic or I just get easy weeks. I'm not
Probably
sure.
both. You never
Yeah.
know.
No, you never
Well,
know,
and I
but
do think your perspective changes, like, your capacity to handle certain things, like, work doesn't stress me out. It stresses a lot
me
of
either.
people out, but I don't I can handle work stress because, again, I can solve the problems, I can think about the next step. So it grows your capacity because that used to not be the case.
And it's like my identity is so not in my work. Like, it shouldn't have been in general, but now that I'm like a mom and my identity is more being a mom and I am getting out, I'm like, I could care less. Like, I try to do a good job because that's just like who I am as a person, but like,
Mhm,
I don't care if these people like me. Like,
mhm.
I mean, I want them to like see Christ and like glorify God, but I'm
Yeah.
not like changing who I am or like putting in extra effort like after hours, except for the change of command, but that's over now.
Mhm.
it's a nice spot to be, not being
Yeah,
stressed about work. Like,
yeah,
my number one priority is my kids, and I think people know that, and I'll do a good job with the time I have left, but not gonna, like, let it stress me out in any way at all.
yeah. Well, before we wrap up, I wanted to go to the word to give those listening and ourselves some
I could
encouragement.
use it.
Yeah, because the purpose about this isn't just to talk about the invisible mental load and complain. It's to help ourselves and others understand it. And so one verse that came to mind is Galatians 6:2, and it says, "Bear one another's burdens and so fulfill the law of Christ." So I think talking about the mental load, the physical load with each other as women, as friends, can help us bear one another's burdens, whether you're physically in the same place as somebody and can provide, like, I don't know what it is, like childcare support one day or meal support another day, whether it's physical things that you can help each other with like that, or if it's the mental sharing of one another's burdens, like texting Liz and being like, "Hey, really struggling with this. Like, can you pray for me?" The Bible asks us to do that, and the Bible says that that will help in life. So that's one reason why we're talking about it. I also wanted to bring up Colossians 3:23, which we talk about all the time, which is whatever you do, work heartily as for the Lord and not for men, knowing that for the Lord you will receive the inheritance as your reward. You are serving the Lord Christ. So much of motherhood is unseen and unrecognized, but the Lord sees you. And so many things that feel like you're just spinning your wheels, not going anywhere. The Lord sees, and another verse, I don't remember where this one is, but he who is faithful with little will be faithful with much. So do the little things. The Lord will see them and he'll reward them, even if you're not saying yes to every opportunity at work and getting recognition in that sense. The Lord will see you and provide for you in the areas where you fall short.
Another verse that I feel like is really helping in this season is Matthew 11:28-30, which says, "Come to me, all who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest." And this just reminded me that working moms and any mom in general carries a lot of physical, emotional, and mental burdens. And Jesus doesn't promise like a burden free, easy life, but he does invite us to bring those burdens to him and find rest in his presence. And that is so freeing in and of itself. So it's a good reminder that we can give our burdens to God. And then another verse that really hits home is Philippians 2:3-4, which says, "Do nothing from selfish ambition or conceit, but in humility count others more significant than yourselves." And I think this verse challenges all of us as wives, spouses, I don't coworkers, military officers, whatever, to consider what others may be carrying before making assumptions. And it encourages empathy and willingness to put others' needs alongside our own. And it just reminds me that it's so important to like get to know your people because you truly never know what someone else is going through, so always making it a point to, like, ask how people are doing, like, what's going on in their life. Like, I've gotten to know some stuff about people when they really were in dark places, and had I not asked, like, deeper questions and been there for them, I would have never known. So, I think that's really important too at work, not just looking at the work side of things, but looking at the personal side of things as well.
Yeah. So, to all moms listening, whether you work outside or in the home, if you feel tired or stretched thin, know that you're not alone. There's a lot going on behind the scenes that most people never see, but we want to help bear one another's burdens and encourage you in knowing that the Lord sees you and He will sustain you. And He's called you to the role of being a mom and to your work. If you feel called to your work, then it would be disobedient not to step into that. And so do it with confidence, do it wholeheartedly, and know that He sees you and He'll sustain you through it. Thank you all for joining us. If you are a work outside the home mom, we'd love to hear where you are working. If you would leave that in the comment section below, we'd love to hear and be able to pray for you specifically in that work. And in general, we'd love to hear where you guys are at, what season of life you're in, how many kids you have, like what stage of womanhood are you in? We'd love to hear and learn more about our listeners. And we are excited to continue to do this podcast and, do the social media thing in a sense. With that, this has been Erin and Liz helping you find your mission.